Lighting. Set. Ready? And action!
We did a lot of the magic in the camera, which is unusual, because usually you wait for digital effects afterwards. But John wanted to keep it as true as possible.
Action!
In terms of the sorcery effects, you would expect that was just done in post-production, but it was actually there in camera, and we on the set were kind of going like, wow, that's almost finished.
Ready, aim, fire! Whoa!
It's impossible not to be affected by that when you're right beside it. You know, like it really informs your performance, but it also informs your performance because I'm constantly worried that I'm going to set my shoes on fire. So that's like something that, you know, if you see all the scenes with me and fire, I guarantee you can rest assured all I'm thinking about is, please, this is not how I want to go.
Once you enter, there is no going back.
So I should probably pee first?
You know, the thing we found out is the more real, hard special effects we did, the better it looked. If you're gonna blast somebody with the magic, blast them with air, throw dirt and paper.
My idea of a perfect visual effect is one that starts with a practical effect, i.e. something that could be photographed, a real event. And then goes into something that's amazing, that looks real, but might not be there on the day when we shoot it. And then ends with a practical effect, because then the beginning and end of the shot will be real.
And a lot of the practical that goes with it is like the old school effects, before there was visual effects. Flying stuff on wires and things like that. Like Horvath getting a knife to fly in his hand, I mean, we did that practically, and it gives the actors definitely something that they can react to instead of just sitting there with their hand open and kind of go like that.
I'll cut the truth out of you.
Awesome. Is that right?
Awesome.
Yeah, great.
That's awesome.
You're cool, Fred Molina.
It'll be a special effects guy with some kind of pole with a piece of wire on it, yanking something out of the frame, you know. It basically boils down to that, you know. A couple of hefty guys at the end of a rope just giving it a good pull so the whole thing works.
And it's really quite fantastic. So, I mean, it's a true combination of collaborative effort of stunts, camera,
Action!
practical effects, you know, the actors, direction, everybody together to really make it go.
Cut! Fantastic. Cut. All right, check the gate on this.
Early on, they talked about how we're going to do this thing and sell this Chrysler Eagle that flies away, which I've known, you know, because I've been in Chrysler building it up. I go, you know, that's big. That Eagle's big. Oh, yeah, we know it's big, you know. And, but we need you to build that, and we need you to make you move it.
Yeah, this is for the sequence on the Chrysler building when Balthazar and Dave come flying in. It's going to be mostly a CG Eagle, but for all the tight stuff, you know, it's good for the interaction for the actors to have this.
So there's a neck and a giant iron eagle head that turns left and right, and the rest is just a body that we have to jump onto and hang on for dear life. And those are fun days.
Oh, man! It's got hydraulics, it's all motion controlled, it's all repeatable. It's just on a little joystick. You can move the joystick and the head, you know, moves wherever you want it to move. And then we took that and then we put it onto a 6-axis motion base, and so you can get the whole like flying movement of the head and everything.
Oh, this is not happening, this is not happening, this is not happening.
Take it easy, Dave. Deep breaths.
Well, I think it's great because the way it interacts with visual effects, they can give us a move, and we can move exactly the way that they've already animated something, so that when we marry the two together, it's really fluid. You know, it's hard to see where the visual effects and the physical effects meet.
That's it. Just step right up.
This is another shot where we're combining the CG eagle in front of the practical. So this is real, and this is all CG.
There
There's a few cases where we had to replace the body altogether. Of course, when the eagle's flying or, jumping off the train, those were full CG eagles. But, whenever the actor was interacting with the eagle, it was usually a combination of CG and the live-action plates.
Hurry! I always love having real actors touch things that are visual effects. Like touch them, actually feel them and grasp them. Just by doing that act, you make it much more real and relatable to the audience.
Hey, whoa, look at that.
Hang on. We have car chases in the movie in the grand Jerry Bruckheimer tradition.
We have everything sort of storyboarded and pre-visualized, so there's a template to go on.
Stone's car is here. In reality, you guys have rounded the corner. You slid through the mirror, and he takes off down the street.
What's interesting about this car chase, and something I've never seen before, is through their magic, they create this mirror which turns everything backwards.
I'm telling you, a car chase is hard to figure out when everyone's going the correct direction. When you're in mirror world and the driver's on the other side and the other passenger's on that side and you've got to switch sides, it's very difficult.
The concept is we'll shoot an element of plates looking across the street this way, of Balthazar's car to get morphed in, and we'll look that way at Horvath's car. So at the end of the day, it becomes a little bit of a chase sequence down here with a car that's on the road and a car that's only reflected in the glassway. Ready, and action!
Especially for the mirror world part of the car chase, a very large percentage of that was just completely recreated in the computer. We had to recreate that 4 or 5 block stretch of 7th Avenue and Times Square with computer-generated cars, and computer-generated glass smashing, and computer-generated everything.
We closely looked at the live-action footage that we did take and used that as perfect reference for what Times Square looks like, because those shots had to cut back to back.
It's a great scene because we're allowed to let magic extend the action.
A matador, gored by a bull, can take up to 3 days to die. Sounds unpleasant, doesn't it?
This is where the bull comes to life. The bullet's right behind us, and it comes to life, and it gores several cars and flips them in the air and chases Nick Cage down.
Working with John Nelson, we try to do as much physical as we can.
Ready, and action!
We have several cars that are going to get rammed by the bull that implode, so we just suck in the side of the car. And at the same time, we're going to have a car flipper underneath it, and we'll do the implosion and the flip at the same time, so it's like the bull is sticking his head inside the car, crushing it, and then flinging it off his horns.
So for the car flip for the bull, it ended up being a mixture of some shots where we leave the car exactly as it is and we just line the bull up. Other shots, we completely replaced the car because its path didn't work once we had the bull animation in there. And then some shots, we did a combination.
One of the problems that we faced with this shot was that in the previous shots, the bull had hit the beetle and it had its horn stuck into the back of the beetle. So when this was filmed, the back of the beetle remained intact and we needed to destroy that. So we used part of the real car and we used part of a CG car. So what we have here is this half of the car is in fact CG, whereas the rest of the car is in fact the plate car.
Okay, rolling. Ready? Speed.
Okay, walking in with it.
Yep.
Also, we cast a 1/8 scale bull front that one of our crew could wear over his shoulder. And it's made of the same material. And there you actually see the light playing off the scale model. So you see how the real metal interacts with the real lighting here.
Wisdom and knowledge brings wealth.
Besides being quite amusing,
rolling,
it was really helpful because it showed the light and direction, which helped us to match and apply that to our character within the scene.
When the dragon is chasing Dave through Chinatown, yes, it's a combination. Obviously, the dragon itself is completely computer-generated. Basically, the art department had already come up with a concept for how the dragon should look.
The dragon will be about this size and look like that when it comes to life. Not as red as that, more of a reptilian
brownie red.
That was fun. How many dragons do you get to ever design in your life? Did a lot of research and on different types of dragons, what the history is behind them, and then when it came to designing it, then we took those ideas and kind of blended into the concepts.
Real dragon! Real dragon! Oh no!
That was one sequence where the previs was really helpful because it let everybody really think over at what point it would transform and what would happen to the guys inside it when it did transform.
We're inside the dragon right now. It's kind of hot in here, but we'll manage.
For the parade dragon, we actually had to track and rotomate that, which means somebody actually made it look in 3D exactly like what the cloth is doing, the folds and everything are in the right place. And then from there, we built out all the insides and whatnot so that this transformation happens. So this just shows the different CG elements and is merged with what was shot in the plate with the actors.
We coated it in slime, and we had dripping strands of goop that were dropping down, and we were a little hesitant to show it because we thought, well, maybe this is over the top. And then John Turteltaub loved it.
If we do our job right, 90% of those shots, you'll just go, whoa, you know, that's cool, but that's real, right? You know, the biggest compliment you can get in your business is for someone to come up and see a movie and say, well, what did you do?
I mean, you just got really interesting visual effects, wonderful stunts. You just love watching because you never know quite what they're going to pull off on the screen.